Today's guest on Inside the League is Bernhard Seikovits, fresh off 3 years in the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals. What are some of the biggest things you learned during your time with the Arizona Cardinals?
Bernhard Seikovits from Austria making the catch.
It's probably something that I carry with me for the rest of my life.
We talked about his expectations playing in the AFLE.
I have not experienced professional football in Europe. Last time I was here, it was Austrian Football League.
Signing back with his hometown team, the Vienna Vikings. How does it feel to be back?
It's a little bit of a full circle moment for me. It feels like home still.
His culture shock in the USA. Did you have any culture shock in your time in the United States?
One thing that is really a lot different is...
Would you consider yourself a competitive guy?
Did you ask Chris this? He has a fun story about it.
Does he?
I still remember the day that Seikovits was frustrated.
And if he feels pressure from all the expectations of an NFL player returning to Europe. Do you feel extra pressure from that?
Well, you feel the expectations for sure. Yes, I would expect myself to be a little bit better than maybe most.
Yeah.
So maybe I do put some pressure on myself.
Welcome to Inside the League. You are back in Vienna after a few-year stint in the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals. First question, how does it feel to be back here, your hometown team?
Good. I don't know. I love Vienna. I loved growing up here. I loved playing for the Vikings when I grew up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a little bit of a full circle moment for me, I feel like. But I've never been like detached from here. I always spent my off season here in between OTAs and training camp. I trained here. So I always was in touch, and the Vikings were nice enough to let me practice there and use the field and everything. So yeah, I was always a little bit around the guys, not really, but never really lost the touch. So it just feels like home still. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, just coming back, a little homecoming for you, never detached from the Vikings. What would you say are some of the biggest things you learned during your time with the Arizona Cardinals that you can bring back here to Europe?
Well, the overall standard of play obviously is different. So I would say whatever competition level I experienced over there is probably something that I carry with me for the rest of my life, and probably am taking into practice every day too. So I would say that, and then also just how you approach football is obviously different over there because it's a full-time job. It's a little bit different than what I used to have when I was here, because I never played in the ELF. Right when I went over there, the ELF started. So and now in the AFLE, I think that's also something that I can show maybe the younger players that played in the ELF for 5 years. They probably already have their routines and the rhythm and know what it feels like to have imports coming in, imports coming in. But the younger players, I feel like I could give some guidance there on how to just, manage, because it's different. When you grow up in Europe, you go through the youth system, and eventually you're going to play if you stick around long enough. But now it's not the case anymore, because you could stick with the team your whole life, and then you get to the AFLE, and all of a sudden you're not starting anymore, or not seeing the field much anymore. The mental side of the game, I feel like, evolved. On the football side, it's more just turning into a blocking tight end over there. Because you know how it is, the receiving tight ends get drafted high, and everybody else is more of a blocking tight end.
Exactly.
So that was always my role over there, which helped me a lot, I think, because I played receiver over here, so receiving always felt pretty natural to me. But now spending a lot of time working on the blocking, the footwork, and just understanding what D-line gaps are and where they probably going to end up and all of that, I think has helped me a lot, and it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to work here in Europe.
Interesting is a nice way to put it. I'm very interested to see how those skills come back from the NFL here to the AFLE. Did you have any culture shock, like off the field stuff in your time in the United States? Anything was just like, whoa, man, this is so different than Austria?
Well, one thing that is really a lot different is nobody walks, especially in Phoenix, which I started to understand, because in the summer it's 50 degrees Celsius, like 115 Fahrenheit. So you don't really want to go for a walk. I would say that's probably the biggest difference. But with football, I've learned no matter where you go, if you have one thing in common, that's most of the time that's enough for a team to, take you in, and then you go from there and you learn everything about them, and but not too different. Obviously, for me, the language was always a big thing. Because like humor and stuff is a little harder in your second language.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you don't feel as comfortable in it, but yeah.
But hey, look, you're doing an interview right now in English. Doing a great job.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
What was something that you missed from during your time when you were in the States, missed about Vienna or about Austria? Besides your family, of course, your family and friends and stuff.
That's probably number one, just the people around me.
Yep.
Just like the safety net you start to build when you grow up, and whenever you need something, you know who to call and everything.
Sure.
And it's just not the same with 9 hours time difference.
Yeah. That's tough.
So I would say that's the number one. But other than that, maybe the quality of food.
Hey, I'm with you 100% on that. All right, there's a bunch of chemicals in the food in the States. Yeah. It is.
Especially, I had a lot of players on my team that are a little bit deeper in the conspiracy thing. So every day at lunch, like you hear new stuff that is in the eggs and is in the red meat, and I'm like, thanks for letting me know, I guess.
They're putting the chemicals in the eggs, man. They're trying to control us. Yeah, we like to have fun with our conspiracy theories.
No, I do too. I always made sure they kept on talking.
Yeah.
I thought it was always fun to argue about it.
What is something that was maybe different than you expected about being in the NFL? A lot of people see the NFL from the outside. Was there anything that sort of surprised you about your experience?
Well, like the naive me going over there was like, oh, everybody's gonna be too big for me. Like, but not as a person, as a human. Oh, they're star. Everybody's a star. Blah blah blah. But obviously they're not. Like, it's humans. Mm-hmm. So that was something. At first, flying over there, you have this picture in your head. The first plane ride, I was like, all the thoughts in my head. So that was the first thing that surprised me a little bit. But yeah, other than that, just the life over there without everything was just so different. I think the whole experience. Yeah. I guess.
But it's a great point there, like especially coming from Europe, going to be in the NFL, and you're like thinking like, man, these like big star names and stuff, and it's just like then they're your teammates, and you're in the same building with them, and they're just guys, Yeah. It's just how it is.
I had a couple weird interactions.
Did you?
One that is funny is when I first met James Conner.
Yeah.
I was like, James, I had you in my fantasy last year. but he's the coolest guy ever, and he's like, cool, man. Good to meet you.
How did he perform? Did he perform for your fantasy team that year?
Yeah. I had him 3 years in a row.
Okay, there you go. Okay, that's actually kind of crazy. You have a guy in your fantasy team, and then the next year you're like teammates with him.
Yeah.
Practicing same building. Let me ask you about your relationship with Coach Chris Kalika, because obviously you worked with him back in the day when you were younger, and then now back here again after your time in the NFL. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with him and how he is as a coach.
I love Chris. I've had the honor, or I experienced him as a coach ever since I was 12 years old, ever since I came here first. And I don't know, I feel like he's such an even keel type of human. You can always go up, talk to him. He's always an open person to talk to, and it doesn't matter if it's personal or football related. Obviously, I think he enjoys talking football more than personal stuff, but everybody just knows that he's a guy you can go up and talk to, and he's doing such a good job. I mean, it's over 20 years that he's over here now, and he still always finds the right words, and like he reads situations really well, I feel like. And he's doing a good job of controlling the emotions of the team as a whole, which is, I think, a really hard job for every head coach. But I think he's doing a good job with that, and then obviously the whole organization that we have with the youth and everything, he helped set that up and stuff. So I think that's props to him for that. But as a person, he's just so easy to talk to, and a role model for all of us, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you consider yourself a competitive guy?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah?
Did you ask Chris this? He has a fun story about
Does he?
this.
Tell me, well, what is the story? I didn't ask him. Tell me the story.
Well, he explains it better, but
Give your best.
we always had the youth camps.
Okay.
And he was a coach there, and
Yeah.
Jordan Newman was there too, and Josiah, maybe you know him,
Yeah,
Carvalho.
yeah.
So the coaches would play against the kids, and it was me and Chris I was guarding Chris, and he was in the post, trying to get big and
Yeah.
everything. And then he that's how he explains the stories. He says, I started hitting him with my elbow,
Okay.
like just to be like, I don't know, do something or whatever. And that's always the story he takes to explain that I'm competitive. So
There we go. You were like basically
that's why
trying
I
to
just
muscle
thought
him
about
out.
it.
How old were you then? You were
14.
14? So you
14.
were like starting to really, you were trying to be big body and
Yeah.
muscle on the head coach
you
there.
know how grown-ups are sometimes. The kids are like,
Yeah.
oh, you little guy. And
Yeah.
that just pisses someone off.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good example of your competitive. You know what? He also talked to me about, because you were playing quarterback back in the day, right?
All the time,
Yeah.
basically, until I was 19.
Yeah.
That's when I got into the military sports thing
Yep.
that we have here in Austria. And in that season, the Vikings decided to go with an American import for quarterback again.
Yep.
And I was like, that's kind of a waste of my time. I'm in this military thing. I
Yeah.
can practice whatever position you want me to. Let me try. So that's when I switched to receiver. And
And then
that
the
was
rest
good.
is history.
Yeah.
And then you
But
became
the
a-
funny thing is, I
Yeah.
never wanted to play quarterback.
Really? They just
Yeah,
put you at it?
we
Why?
just
Because you were good
didn't-
at throwing it?
I guess. I don't know. I always, ever since I came to the Vikings, they put me in the quarterback school with
Yeah.
Jordan. So I always practiced throwing, but
Yeah.
I never really liked the position because you would always give the ball away.
You wanted the ball to come to you?
Yeah, and it's not as physical. Like it's more strategic and like
Right.
it's so much thinking. But
It is way.
every other position is like just go,
You know what's crazy about football is like you think, all right, we all play the same sport here,
Mm-hmm.
but like your experience as a tight end is so
much
different than what
different,
Ben
yeah.
is doing. Like he's playing, you get like, yeah, it's the same sport, but it's nowhere near the same
Yeah.
physical things because basketball, everyone's dribbling and shooting and rebounding. I know there's like a little,
Yeah,
there's
true.
differences there. Same with soccer, you're all using your feet to
Mm-hmm.
dribble, but like I played linebacker, I never touched the football.
Yeah,
Like,
football is so specific, that is true. And that's why also I think it's good that a lot of Americans in high school play multiple positions
Yeah.
so that they build a bigger, toolbox.
Yeah.
But over here, I feel like a lot of kids get so specialized early, and I think maybe that's not for the good sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's actually it's really good to like have a diversification and like a variety.
Like
and it's
it
just-
helped me a lot to have been a quarterback.
Yeah.
Have played quarterback to understand running routes as a receiver, as a tight end. Because now that I'm learning the playbook as a tight end, or back then as a receiver, you just don't listen the same way.
Yeah.
Even if you try to, you don't have to. And if you don't have to know it, then it's not as important to you. But as a quarterback, you have to know the O-line, everything, so
Gotta
you
know all.
understand the big picture. So yeah, I guess multiple positions is good.
All right, let me ask you some fun questions here, okay? What is something that you think people might be surprised to know about you or learn about you?
Like a weird thing I do?
Like a weird
or-
thing, like do you play an instrument? Do you have like a weird interest or hobby? Do you,
No,
you garden?
I have a dog.
Okay.
So I like to spend my free time outside most of the time with him, walking, and but yeah, I like doing sports, whatever sports. I like doing competitive stuff, like the Jenga we did earlier.
Nice.
That's fun.
Did you guys win or did you lose?
I lost.
You lost, okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I like the outdoors. I like sports. Pretty easy.
Nice.
Pretty easy to.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Yeah, no.
Did you say yeah, no?
No, I don't know. I'm weird with movies because I would watch one and then a couple days later, I'm
Yeah.
like, I forget the name of the movie and
Okay. So you have nothing that like sticks out like, oh, that was a good movie.
maybe. Well, I like the Avatar series.
Okay, nice.
That's good.
Did you see the new one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like with stuff like this, the first one is always the best.
Yeah,
one.
it's always the best. Yeah.
So I was not a big fan of the second and third, but yeah, I don't know. I like watching. How do you say? Like series.
Series,
like
TV.
The Walking Dead.
Okay,
or,
yeah, that was my
like,
next question. Is
stuff
what
like
is your
that.
favorite? Or are you watching a TV series right now?
Yeah, The Office.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, pretty much anything.
You have a favorite food or favorite meal?
We just had pizza. I like pizza. But well, the food. If there's one food I had to eat for the rest of my life, it would be chicken and rice. I think.
Very healthy.
Because I like sauces and you can mix up the sauces and stuff.
True.
But pretty much anything my mom would make, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just tastes good.
Okay. Does your mom have like a go-to? Like when you came home, say you came back from Arizona.
Chicken and rice.
Chicken and rice. Okay. Did your mom make it for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Love when my mom makes a meal for me. What is something that annoys you? And in English, we say a pet peeve. Have you heard this term? What's something that annoys you, bothers you?
About
anything. Like, for example, for me, it really bothers me when people chew with their mouth open and I'd like hear them chew. Okay. Or
like an ick.
Almost like an ick, yeah. Or like for what bothers me a lot here in Europe, in Germany specifically, people stand really close to you in the line at the grocery store. I hate that.
It's not that big of a problem anymore here in Austria because I think the regulations got really strict in open spaces. But smoking in public, like cigarettes, I can't stand. Like if you walk behind someone and they smoke in front of you and you inhale the whole thing.
You know what you do in that? You start like coughing really, really violently and make them feel bad for smoking in front of you.
That works because I feel like most of the Viennese people would be like,
actually,
I don't
correct.
care.
In Vienna, it might not work. In the States, maybe they'll give you a little look or something.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Hey, did you have any? I won't say trouble, but like kind of weird feeling with, like, in the States people always say like, hey, how are you? Or any of these type of things. Like they don't really mean that. That just means hi.
Yeah, well, so at first, nobody said that to me before going over.
Yeah.
So at first I would stop because this guy just asked me how I'm doing. So I would stop and be like, well, I'm fine, blah, blah, how are you? Starting a conversation because I thought that's what they wanted to do. Yeah. But they always kept walking. So then eventually I was like, all right, I'll do the same thing. Yeah. And I asked someone and I was like, do you actually want to know how I feel? Yeah. And they're like, no, it's just like a hi.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, got it.
There you go. Hey, how are you? You know, one of those, just walk on by. There we go.
One thing I also didn't know what to say was when they go, what's the word?
Oh, what's the word?
And then I was like,
That's a weird one, right?
Weird or random words pop into my head. I'm like, that's probably not what he's looking for.
It's not the word. No, you're not. You're probably not thinking of the right word. All right, last thing. Let's circle to the AFLE season. This is your first year back in Europe playing. Mm-hmm. What are your expectations for this year for you personally, and then also for the Vikings?
Yeah, as we talked earlier, I have not experienced professional football in Europe.
Yeah.
Last time I was here, it was AFLE, Austrian Football League. So I'm really excited for the level of play. I'm excited to see, the level of play, how competitive everything is, and how I'm gonna fit into that picture. Obviously, I want to make some plays and have fun playing. But I'm just looking forward to play football. To be honest, yeah.
Well, so do you feel any extra sort of pressure having had that experience in the NFL, and then people are like, oh, he's coming back from the NFL, like, oh, he's got to perform at a certain level? Do you feel extra pressure from that?
Well, you feel the expectations for sure.
Yeah.
If I am putting any pressure on me, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to perform to your best ability all the time.
Yeah.
And with me having a different route than most of the guys over here, yes, I would expect myself to be a little bit better than maybe most.
Yeah.
So maybe I do put some pressure on myself, but I don't know. I'm just excited to play. I don't really think about it too much. I think it's gonna be okay, and it's going to be a good season, I think.
I think it's going to be just fine. I think it's going to be okay. Bernhard Seikovits, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.